All right. First
Yeah,
official
here we
episode.
go.
First official episode.
The official is a strong point there.
Yes, official. There have been
This is
test
like our
drives.
second redo of our initial recording that never went out, like, what, 3.5 weeks ago?
Something like that, yeah. That's okay, though.
God, what a struggle. But we're
What a
here
struggle.
now, and hopefully this one's actually out. That
Yeah,
would be
this
good.
one, this
I'd
one
feel really
will
good if
hopefully.
by, like, in the next 48 hours, I'm like, hey, I officially have a podcast out.
If you're seeing this, it means that it was a success. The episode was
Yeah,
it
you
was a
know that
success.
I'm just walking around with a happy boner right now. I guess maybe we should tell them like who is going to be walking around with a happy boner and
Yeah,
such. I mean,
probably. Yeah, they don't know who
yeah.
we
So
are yet.
I'm Travis. I'm just happy boner guy. I didn't mean to address myself this way to start off, but technically this is my third episode, so I'm right in the groove. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a big baseball guy. Gonna talk a lot about baseball, but gonna talk about a little bit of everything because I like to think I know stuff. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna try and just make this kind of funny, but I also just don't get to talk to a lot of people about baseball because my mom likes it, but doesn't follow it that much, and Jess puts up with it. But I can't torture her that much. She will run away eventually if I do that. So yeah, gonna get to a vent bit about baseball here. I'm gonna do that today. But Nathan, you're gonna
Oh yeah,
be
I'm
Big
Nathan.
Nate. You're gonna be our basketball
Yeah,
man.
resident basketball connoisseur. You know, the guy who watches maybe too much basketball.
There's
Um,
no such thing as too much. They tell me that about baseball, and I honestly wish they would extend the season from 162
just
games.
make
So
the
I know
season longer.
something about
More
being at it
baseball. Let's make a petition. More baseball.
year round. I want an indoor league.
That's what wiffle ball's for. Shout out Major League Wiffle Ball, greatest YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
it's funny because you're more into that than I
It's
am, and
huge,
like as
man.
a
It's
true
huge. It's
baseball
massive.
guy, I really should be into wiffle.
You should watch it, man. It's so good.
I don't know.
So
I don't
good.
know. I'm not an off-brand sports kind of guy,
Fair
but I
enough.
guess
Fair enough.
that
Yeah,
like kind of leads into the show as well. Not to cut your intro short, but
that's okay. My
yeah, I
intro
don't
was pretty
know.
much just I like basketball.
You're a pretty like even on the podcast, you're a pretty succinct kind of guy.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, yeah, I'm a
you're not
pretty
you're
pretty
not even
straight
like
to the
meat and
point.
potatoes. You're just meat. You know what I mean?
Just here's just the meat. No
Just the
fluff.
meat.
Here's
That
are the
could be a good
facts.
backup title for this show.
Just the meat.
Just the meat. Anyway, yeah. So the show. So this is something we wanted to start just mostly for us as like a passion thing, but gonna try and do it throughout school and get some credit for it that way, and hopefully add it to our resume one day as a creative product that we put out there because we're game designers, and I'm sure it's going to benefit us someday. Although if they listen to it, maybe not. It might benefit us getting hired if they could see that we're capable of doing something creative, which is kind of the whole point of making games. But the show itself, aside from that, is going to be mostly like we said, baseball and basketball. It's also like prime NBA off season heat of the middle of the All-Star break for baseball. So kind of two of the bigger things right now. But we're going to talk about all the major sports, and we'd like to eventually someday get it to a point where we can do maybe a second show as well. Kind of do other sports like wiffle and cricket and stuff we don't really know anything about. Maybe touch some like boxing or MMA or like all the way over to ping pong. I mean, we got all kinds of ideas for it, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Nathan? Do you think this is actually going to
Yeah.
work? Because it hasn't
Hopefully.
worked for about a month now when we thought it would.
We keep trying, so maybe eventually it'll work.
Maybe we just have to be committed enough.
Maybe, I don't know. Just gotta get in the flow, get in the groove.
We're 20, so we have time,
Yeah, we got plenty of time. We're
I'm
fine.
not a
We're chilling.
40-year-old divorcee who's like down to my last bit of will left to live. Maybe that's what it takes. Maybe I need to
Maybe
get there to make
maybe you need
something
to hit like a
successful.
midlife crisis kind of thing.
Well, I look like I'm in my midlife
This
crisis,
is true.
so
Yeah.
maybe I'm there. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess you'll find out more of what the show is like, and so will we, because we don't know yet. But
Yeah, we're still
the
trying to
last
figure
one we
that out.
recorded is what is now a dry run. Is honestly, I think it was pretty
It
good.
was decent. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I'm gonna be excited to listen to it like after the school year, after we hopefully continue this and see what it was like then
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
compared to what it is in the future. But all right, Nathan. I don't know. Do you wanna
Should
kick
we?
it off first? You
I'll
kicked it
kick it
off
off.
first
Yeah, why
last
not?
time.
We're gonna talk about the summer league. I was gonna talk about the draft, but the draft is a little late to talk about the draft now. So we're just gonna talk about the
Yeah,
summer league and then insert draft talk into the summer league.
yeah, I think that'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about basketball to like be mad that we're not talking about draft
I
stuff
mean, yeah,
anyway.
it's
So
fine. So, I mean, who else to start with than the first overall pick, right? Paolo Banchero. This
is
man,
that how you say that name?
yeah, it's
I've been
Banchero.
saying Banchero for
I
years.
know, me too, until draft night.
I mean, that's how the Ford Ranchero is spelled, and that you call it a Ranchero. So
Yeah, this man though, real deal for sure. Like, he's not gonna be a bust. We don't have an Anthony Bennett situation on our hands. We don't have
no,
a
he's gonna
Kwame
keep
Brown situation on our hands.
Kwame
We
Brown.
don't
I
have
love
a
that.
Hashim
I
Thabit
love that
situation
guy.
on our hands.
Jesus.
We have the real deal. This man, I've watched his games. Statistically, he's not the greatest player, but like, he passes the eye test with flying colors. Like his frame is like massive. Like this man is basically Blake Griffin's second coming. And then like
I get that actually.
and his
With having used him and Blake Griffin a lot in 2K, they do
yeah,
feel similar
his
just in the
jumper,
video
his
game
jumper is
form.
silky smooth. It's for a big man, it's really really nice. His decision making still needs some work, but like every rookie's decision making needs
He's a
some work.
rookie.
Yeah,
You
you can't
almost can't
really
even
any
consider that.
IQ based thing. I kind of just like ignore that.
Oh, he's American Italian. Let's
Yeah,
go. That's
but yeah,
exciting.
he's an impressive guy. I think he's showing that he should have been the first overall pick, and he was the first overall pick. So
Pretty
shout out
cool
to
to go
Paolo.
from Duke to Orlando and have like such a similar jersey as well.
Literally, yeah.
Just kind of looks like it fits him immediately.
Then moving on to the unicorn of the draft, Chet Holmgren, 7 footer with handles like a guard,
The most twiggy alien looking fuck I think
literally,
I've ever seen.
and he's looked really really good. He even hit like a Dirk fadeaway at the top of the key in his first
Ooh,
game. It was really nice, yeah. And but the obviously the glaring issue with him is like he struggles a lot physically. Like any big body guy, like Kenneth Lofton is like 6'7", like nearly 300 pounds,
holy
and that man
fuck.
was bullying him down low.
That's like an that's an all-time DB right
Like
there.
he was messing Chet up down low.
Well, dude, that guy could beat the shit out of like Shaq. Like that guy's seems huge.
But yeah, so obviously like he needs to improve physically. I don't think he's ever gonna grow into like a Giannis kind of body type. If
I
he
doubt
does,
it.
it's over. Like if he does, literally it's his league.
Just seems like a 2K my player cheese if he
Yeah,
does that.
but um, yeah, I think he's gonna be fine. I think he just needs to get a little bit meatier, put on a little bit more weight, and then he'll kind of find more success in the league. But he's definitely
What is
found
his
he's oh
what is
sorry.
his like perspective as a playmaker?
He's actually a surprisingly good playmaker.
Because if he works on his body a bit and can continue to develop playmaking, I mean that guy can be one of the most versatile players there
Literally, yeah,
is
yeah.
in terms of like how he plays the floor.
He's done really good at like overcoming the physicality by putting in finesse instead. Like he's putting in
Right
a lot
on.
of spin
Okay.
moves, a lot of behind the back dribbles, a lot of
Oh
like
God, this looks so weird with how gangly he is.
yeah, a lot of like
Just
crossovers and
that
stuff.
looks like a fucking spider out on the
It's
floor.
crazy. Because the thing is, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, Uzman Jang, who they drafted this year, Alexei Pokushevsky, they're all super lanky guys,
Okay.
right? And if they
So
draft Victor
it's your
Wembanyama next
spider
year,
court.
yeah, if they
Dude,
draft
that guy
Victor
looks like
Wembanyama
a
next year,
fucking freak.
what can happen is they could probably literally hold hands and cover the entire outside of the key.
Dude, it's just an entire fucking field of bigs at that point.
Literally. Like, no one's getting a shot off. It's not happening. Because everyone's arms could
Ah,
probably, like, high five each other from every point of
I
the
don't want
court.
to like Oklahoma City because Oklahoma City doesn't deserve to be liked for anything. It's a shithole. Not sorry if you're from there, but God, you're gonna have to. Like that
Yeah,
is a
it's,
team that is just
yeah.
so
It's a
exciting.
team that's fun to watch.
Holy shit, Paulo Banchero. Is that his mom or his sister? That's Rhonda Banchero.
I think it's his mom.
He's a WNBA player, right?
Yeah, I think so.
She played college basketball for the Huskies. She graduated as the school's all-time leading scorer with like 52 points under 2,000. That's crazy. He's almost the same age as my mom, too. Sorry, not to go back.
I know, yeah, no problem.
Google showed also searched for, and I was like, wow, this chick is throwing down a mean dunk.
And I guess we'll move on to the third guy, Jabari Smith Jr. He's so far looked like a bust, but I don't think he's a bust because he's playing poorly. He's showing that he's like not commanding the ball enough. Like for a third overall pick, you should be like.
Not too early to call anybody a bust.
Oh, it's way too early to call anyone a bust. But like, obviously, if you're gonna call, like, if anyone's going to end up being labeled the bust of the draft, it's gonna be him right now. But not because he's bad at basketball, but because he doesn't command the ball enough. Like, he doesn't call for the ball nearly enough. In his very first game, he shot 4 for 5.
It's more the way he plays than what he's capable of doing.
Yeah, he's too passive. And not in the sense that he's too passive, like once he has the ball, he won't back anyone down or he won't take shots. He's too passive in the sense that he'll never call the ball in the first place, so he won't get the ball. Because it's hard to play through a power forward / center if they're not like Jokic, where it's like, I am the ball handler, I am the primary playmaker of the team.
Yeah, 6'10", 220, like...
He's got the frame of like a Jaren Jackson Jr. or like a Dwight Howard. Yeah.
He's got good college stat line too, actually.
He was pretty quiet in college.
Like, yeah, like it's not blowing me away, but like pretty good.
It's good stat line. That's what I'm saying. He's good at basketball. He just doesn't.
points, 7.5 rebounds, like only 2 assists, but whatever. Yeah. He shot over 40% from the field. And
he's a good shooter. He's a good shooter for a 6'10" guy.
So I mean, like, yeah, I don't see a problem with this at all.
Exactly. But, no, yeah, I don't think. I think the Rockets got a good guy.
Yeah, well.
They just got to play through him more.
The Rockets. Now I'm just immediately suspicious. Where are they going?
Good old Houston. It's okay. They're starting to rebuild. They got Jalen Green. They got Tari Eason, who we'll talk about later, and Jabari Smith Jr. Yeah. So I mean, they got themselves a little core going.
Talent.
And I just have a few other rookies to talk about that I'm kind of just gonna like push through real quick. I just mainly wanted to cover the main three, like the big three. Jaden Ivy, saw him in his summer league debut. Buddy was insane. He's very athletic. He's very explosive. Like I watched the game. I watched the Pistons.
Is that the game you went to when you were in Utah?
Oh no, I didn't watch any of it. I didn't like go to any of the games. I just watched them on TV. Because they were in Vegas at that point, so I couldn't anymore.
Yeah, fair enough.
But he's giving me like John Morant, Derrick Rose kind of vibes. Or like
getting labeled with those names.
Yeah, or like a Russell Westbrook with a jump shot. It's like a prime Russell Westbrook with a jump shot, not a current Russell Westbrook.
That's a pretty crazy comparison.
It is a pretty I think that's his ceiling. I think his ceiling is like prime Westbrook with a jump shot, which is a really good ceiling to have.
That's a really good ceiling.
He was the 5th overall pick, and he was. People wanted him to go 4th, but the 4th pick was Sacramento, and Sacramento picked Keegan Murray, who I'm going to talk about next, and I think that's like a much better fit, because there's obviously drafting for talent, and there's drafting for fit, and the Sacramento Kings surprisingly actually made a good pick.
I mean, in the top 3 and even the top 5, you really should almost be drafting for like best fit, because at that point, it's all just so much talent.
Yeah, I mean, so... But yeah, like the Kings took Keegan Murray, who arguably has been the best player in the summer league right now. Like this man is, I feel like Keegan Murray is more so what Marvin Bagley was supposed to be.
Oh.
He's a good pick and roll guy. He can pick and pop if he needs to. Like he's a threat out on the wing or out at the 3. Like if you leave him alone. And he complements. He can play outside, so he complements De'Aaron Fox's need to play inside.
Man, I like that. I haven't heard this guy's name mentioned much as an outsider, but
Yeah,
that's
Keegan
a
Murray
fun
was
description.
he was a pretty quiet guy until closer to the draft when he shot up the draft stock because he had a really good
I
combine
thought it
and he
was a
had really
fun
good
story.
workouts.
That's
Nah,
like the best story.
yeah, he's from Iowa, I think.
Thank God we got him out of the fucking cornfields then.
And next up we got Jaden Hardy's on a little revenge tour because this kid was supposed to go like lottery like 2 years ago. Like if you're going,
Wow.
yeah, like 2 years ago mock drafts, he was like a for sure a lottery player, maybe even first overall pick.
Did he just fall or did he get
And
injured
then
or
he eventually went to the G League Ignite. He did okay in the G League Ignite. He wasn't amazing. And then he kind of fell to like late 20s, 30s. And then come draft night, he fell like into the second round. And the Dallas Mavericks picked him up, and I think he dropped something like 25 to 28 points in his first game,
holy
like in
shit.
his first summer league game. And he's going on a tear right now. This man is insane. And he's basically just proving to everybody like they should have picked him higher. So the fact that the Dallas Mavericks got him to complement Luka, like
He's got
Dallas
a cool look.
Dallas is gonna be scary. Dallas is gonna be a scary team next year, maybe in a
He was a
couple of years.
consensus 5-star recruit
Yeah.
and one of the top players in the 2021 class.
Yep.
Dude, I'm older than him.
We're older than a
I'm
lot of the
older than
guys.
him by
Yeah.
like a year and a month.
Yeah, we're older than a lot of the guys in the draft. We're older than Paolo, Chet, and Jabari.
That's so fucking weird because like I'm literally a schlubby 5'8" white guy sitting here drinking a tall boy Bud Light. Like
And
I'm
this
not
man's getting drafted in the
anywhere
NBA.
close to a pro athlete of any kind except like I don't know. I no, I'm literally there's nothing I'm capable of being a professional at. That's I always that makes me so sad. Like when I see like baseball rookies making their debut and I'm like, "Oh, like you're too young for me to have hung out with you." Okay, right on.
Yeah, that's how I start feeling. Like I'm watching people on draft night. I'm literally watching people get drafted younger than me,
God, I was so afraid of this day and I didn't even
and it's
realize it
come. Yeah,
passed.
it's already
Now I'm
passed.
just like now I'm just sad.
But yeah, last of the rookies, I'm gonna talk about Tari Eason, cause this man is averaging a double double, and he's like one of three players I think averaging a double double, something like that. It's like either three or five in the summer league right now, and he's also playing for the Rockets. So the Rockets got themselves like a guy who can do it all in Tari Eason. They got their like super hot scorer in Jalen Green, and then they got Jabari Smith who can develop into like one of the scariest big men in the league.
A fun set of rookies right
The
there.
rookies, honestly, the rookies this year, I like them. I like a lot of the rookies this year.
Not that I've ever really followed NBA draft classes, but of the content I saw of this year's, I do feel more excited about these players than I have before.
Yeah,
Part of that might have been you forcing me into
just
more
me, just
basketball. I don't know.
jawing on about them constantly. And then, yeah, I just have a few other like notable guys. I'm just gonna kind of burn through them real quick. Mac McClung, high school phenom, known for white guy who has hops. He's putting up 16 points, 5 assists on 49% shooting, which is pretty solid, honestly. Former G League Rookie of the Year. So shout out him. Cam Thomas, leading all players in the G League right now with 28.7 points per game on 42% shooting. The only downside to that, though, is he's shooting 15% from three. So he's taking a lot of shots, is what I'm hearing, which is why he's putting up 28.7 a
Gonna
game.
say when I
But
saw that stat line, I'm like, that's a high point per game total for a dog shit 3-point
yeah,
percentage.
yeah, that's like. So I mean, if he can boost up that 3-point percentage though, and he shoots a little more efficiently, I could see him as like a primary threat, like scoring threat on a team. Maybe not the Nets, because unless Kyrie and KD leave, then yeah, step up, do your thing.
Kind of like it if they did.
Yeah, I know, right?
Not that I care about the Nets, but I just like seeing those guys on the move because they frustrate me.
And then lastly, I got AJ Lawson, who I'm pretty sure is a Canadian actually. Shout out Canadians.
Oh,
Yeah, Canadian
gotta
boy.
love the Canadians. I made sure to add an NHL announcement or like a transaction just because he was like a Canadian star and national team
We're
star.
always
So
going to talk about the Canadians on this show. Always.
it's kind of a law
We
as a
have to,
Canadian
yeah.
sports fan. Like even if, I realize Canadian sports aren't always the most entertaining, but you know what? That's the law, all right? If I want to make it to work through the polar bears and maple syrup fields, I mean, like the Mounties will hunt you down if you don't bring
Yeah,
up
exactly.
Canadian
Don't
players.
mention a Canadian here or there.
You have to.
But AJ Lawson, 17.7 points per game on 53% from three. Like,
That is sweet.
and it's 53% on like 5 or 6 attempts a game or something like that.
That's like leading type?
Oh
lead
yeah.
leading type
I think
stuff.
I think the only person he's behind is someone who's shooting 100 because they took 1 3.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
It's the only person he's behind.
That guy's got to feel so good. He must just Google that every night and like diddle himself the way bouncers watch Roadhouse and get off. Like that's just yeah, man. 100% from threes. Like
Yeah,
that's going in
woo,
my
my
contract.
1 3
Just
that
get a
I
bonus
took.
from that. Consistency, bitch.
AJ Lawson is an absolute threat, and it's very fun to watch. It's very entertaining.
You know
to
where
watch.
he's from in Canada?
I do
I
not.
imagine like Markham or something, right?
AJ
It's gonna be
Lawson, yeah,
somewhere.
Toronto.
Yeah, okay. So it's any basketball player from Canada is from Toronto.
It's from Toronto, yeah. Or like
Most
it's
baseball
like
players
Toronto,
are
like
from
Mississauga
Toronto.
area.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
But yeah, that's pretty much all the basketball talk I've got though.
I mean, we had a great talk
We did.
in our last episode
We did.
about like
Obviously,
greatest
shout
point
out-
guard type stuff.
shout
and
out
Steph
Warriors,
Curry
'cause,
and
like,
not Steph, but
Shout out Warriors because they won the chip. I can't.
yeah,
Really...
I say I rip on super teams, but there's something about a dynasty that just you can't rip against.
But I mean, it wasn't even a super
Especially
team,
when it's one
which
of
is
like the
I'm happy
greatest.
about.
Well, that no, it isn't, but it's one of like the better dynasties of all time too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool that we, as sports fans, get to
We
see
gotta watch it.
something
Yeah,
like
you gotta
that.
put respect on their name at some point. So, shout out Warriors. You guys did great. Maybe let another team win every so often, but
Yeah, like every other year, you can take a year off and head to the
Yeah.
golf course or
and
whatever.
then come back, win your chip, and then go
yeah,
back
and
to the
then
golf
come
course.
back and reassert your dominance and just be like, "Don't worry, we're still the best. We just wanted to let you guys have some fun."
Steph Curry, Steph Curry ends his career with like 8 rings.
It feels like they could almost just choose to do that, though.
Literally,
like,
it feels
as a
like they
team,
can just choose
they
to
could
win.
just say,
one
"Yeah, we're
year.
gonna win it this year. Yeah, let's do that." All right.
And then they do, and then they just like with the team that they have this year, they lost Gary Payton, which was a big blow.
Yeah, I was sad about that, to be honest.
Yeah, because I
just
liked him in the Warriors
playing
system. Yeah, I liked him in the Warriors system. I think he was doing great in the Warriors system.
Well, it's also just something cool about like him on an excellent like dynasty level West Coast team,
Yeah.
kind of like his dad. You know what I mean? Like, there's some type of storyline there that excites me.
And like the Blazers picked up a dog. Like I love Gary Payton. I think he's a terrific player.
I think
Obviously,
he's
I
gonna
don't-
be cool in Portland too.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was like 28. He's like 28 or 29 years old. Like I thought he was a young guy.
Actually?
Yeah.
Damn.
I thought he was like a young dog. I was like, oh, excited to watch
I
this
have
guy
that a
play.
lot, but I always end up assuming some guy's like way older than he is.
Well, like I mean, it makes sense though, because I think he spent like 5 or 6 years in the G League.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, he grinded
God,
it
that
out in
must
the
have
G
been
League, so he
painful.
deserves it. Like he deserves to
Oh, for
be
sure.
one of the guys in the NBA, especially defensively. This man is a monster on defense, like just like his dad, obviously.
I was gonna say on genetics alone, you have
Yeah.
to assume that.
The mentality.
They
is
called
there.
his dad the glove. Like, come on.
This man, the mitten.
The mitten? Oh,
That's
fuck,
his.
I
I
love
think
it.
that's his nickname is the mitten.
At work, the guys at work started calling me and one of the older guys Big Bear and Little Bear because we both have these huge beards. Just his is white. And we rolled up in the same little buggy to the shop the other day, and they were giggling. They're like, "Jesus Christ, you look like a couple of bears getting out of a fucking clown car." That's kind of what it's like, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, obviously it's harder to talk about draft talk for ages than it is to talk about whether Steph Curry is the greatest point guard of all time or not.
Oh God, yeah. That was I even knowing nothing. I just enjoyed being able to talk about that stuff.
But
You
I
fill
mean,
me in on enough information, I can actually form an opinion. I don't just have to argue blindly. every other sports fan.
So yeah, that's all the basketball talk I've got though. But we got other sports too to talk about,
Oh God,
and
I
some
have so
baseball.
many sports to talk about. I
So I
have
mean,
every other sport to talk about. I'm
I'll
not
give
kidding.
you
Like, unless we
I'll give
talked
you the
about
seat.
soccer, this is it. All right. So, kind of same thing. Gonna talk about a championship real quick. Colorado, Game 6, Stanley Cup, takes it home. I honestly thought they were gonna sweep after the first two games, and I know that sounds ridiculous because it might not to a hockey fan, but as somewhat of an outsider, I just assume Tampa Bay is gonna win it again. Like they're just so fucking good, and they looked like dog shit through the first two games. So it was good that it actually came back and turned into a series because nobody really wants to watch a sweep in the finals. Like that's just not
Yeah,
exciting.
no,
But
definitely not.
Cale Makar, Conn Smythe
What a
winner, that's
monster!
huge. Cale
Some
Makar is a freak, and
he's disgustingly good.
oh god, yeah, like it's fun just as an outsider to go look at what he does and be like, holy shit, that's a good
Especially for a
hockey player.
defenseman too.
Dude, the defense in the league, I think, is getting so much more talented. Because for a
Like,
long time, like that's where, when there was enforcers, they were defensemen, and there was a lot of guys who were there to like block shots and be a body, and they weren't emphasized in the game
yeah, they
necessarily in
weren't like the
scoring and
go-to guys most of the time.
exactly. But now, I mean, you regularly see defensemen that are putting up seasons that would just blow away anybody from previous decades, at least on the average scale.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's exciting, and he's a good young player, and he's a fun player to watch. So it's good to see him getting some recognition. And I mean, I guess if I was old enough, I might feel more for Colorado because like they were the Nordiques, right? So,
yeah.
um, I mean, I guess there might be an attachment there as a Canadian, but I'm just too young to appreciate that. But it is nice, especially in hockey, because they generally are in smaller markets to see some of those like a little bit more kind of. I mean, not that Colorado's a small market, but some of those more kind of diverse teams that people don't necessarily know. Like the average, person that doesn't follow sports or hockey probably might not even recognize that Colorado's a hockey team. Like if you ask them to name three. So, it's always nice when it's kind of a diversified champion. So that's my take on that. And I had a side note that Barry Trotz says he won't coach next season, and I just say that because I like Barry Trotz. He's a little fucking bowling ball rolling around in the bench, and he gets real angry, and his face gets red, and he cusses out refs a lot, and he's like John Tortorella, but not just a total dick. But I like Torts too, so yeah, just kind of a note there, but. Hockey, moving on to more hockey, we have the off season so far. I didn't go get every transaction, but there was quite a few I mean, the free agency only opened like yesterday or 2 days ago or something, but yeah, there's already been quite a bit of movement, so I'm just going to rip through them pretty fast. The Kings got Kevin Fiala from the Wild in the 19th pick in the draft and a defenseman. Predators got Ryan McDonough from the Lightning for a couple of defensemen in the left wing, and that's pretty cool. I mean, the Predators are one of those like dark horse teams that again people probably don't even know as a team, but they're usually pretty good. My growing up favorite hockey team, the Penguins, Chris Letang, one of my favorite players all time, back on a 6-year deal. Ottawa Senators got the Brinkat from the Blackhawks for the 7th overall pick, the 39th overall pick, and a 2024 third round pick. And I was surprised to see Chicago moving him. They're kind of up in the wind, or out in the, I don't know. They're hanging out to dry with Taves and Kane being on the move. But I thought they'd hang on to DeBrincat for the rebuild, and they don't seem to want to, which is depressing. But Wild sign Marc-Andre Fleury to another 2-year contract. Don't mind me opening another beer. The Canadians got Kirby Doc from the Blackhawks as well for a couple of picks, and that's another one of the guys that I thought they'd hang on to. Duncan Keith, a longtime Blackhawk, was playing for the Oilers. He retired. Predators re-signed Philip Forsberg to an 8-year deal. He was one of the guys that I thought was like 32, 34. He's 28. I'm way off. It's my bad. The Maple Leafs, they got Matt Murray from the Senators, former Sens guy. Really good with with the former Pens guy. He was really good when he was with Pittsburgh. And then just kind of, I don't know, he's mediocre with Ottawa, but I'm kind of excited. They lost Jack Campbell to the Oilers, and so now Matt Murray's probably in as the backup. They got another guy in a 1-year deal, Ilya a Russian, I think. It's a Czech. His name ends with Czech or Chuck, but
Yeah.
he looks pretty good. He's going to be their starter probably. Matt Murray will get the backup stuff, and they didn't give up many picks or they're like late round stuff. So I'm excited to see what he does because I know he's got flashes of brilliance. Penn's also re-signed Malkin to a 4-year deal. As I said, Jack Campbell of the Oilers on a 5-year deal. $25 million too for like a pretty good starting caliber goalie. So good for Edmonton. Hopefully that actually does something for them. Sens get Claude Giroux to a 3-year deal. He's 34, but he's still Claude Giroux. Here's the Canadian, Curtis Lazar. He's so good in the
Yeah.
Olympics. I fucking love watching Curtis Lazar play.
I remember
He
watching
signed a
him.
3-year deal with the Canucks, so he's going to be there for a while. Pretty excited to see what he does. They also re-signed Brock Besser to a 3-year deal, and I just love how much still pretty young talent they have, them and Pedersen and all those guys. So kind of a secret Canucks fan, but Rangers get Trocheck to 7-year deal. Red Wings signed Kopp to a 5-year deal. That was kind of a replacement thing. Trocheck was playing for the Red Wings, I think, or Kopp was playing for the Rangers, one of the two, and one left they had to replace. Blackhawks got Andreas Athanasio and Max Domi. They both signed 1-year, $3 million deals. So even though they're kind of tearing down, those are some fun players to see there. And big one, Blue Jackets signed
Yeah.
Johnny Gaudreau, Johnny
Gaudreau.
fucking
Saw that one
hockey,
last night.
7-year contract. He turned down more money actually from Calgary because he just
Yeah.
didn't want to stay there.
Poor
And
Calgary
Columbus.
fans, man.
Yeah, I feel bad for Calgary. They always have like a
Losing
gritty,
Johnny Hockey.
fun, good hockey team, and getting Johnny Gaudreau, like that was very exciting for that fan base, and I don't know, it was good, but it didn't get them where they needed to be. So I don't know. Hopefully Columbus, they always make a pretty good postseason run, it seems lately. So see if Johnny Hockey can go there and do some crazy shit. I'm sure he
Yeah.
will.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so that's kind of the wrap up with hockey so far. Neither of us are really big hockey fans, but felt like we should mention it. It's a big deal and not for nothing, but it's exactly what we're excited about right now for basketball. So
Yeah.
I'm
So
sure
might as
there's
well talk
people
about
who
it.
might listen to this that are excited about that as well. Um, Also, College World Series happened. This has been over for a little while, but I feel like I don't know. I'm not a big college sports fan. I don't pay attention to it much, but I feel like they deserve recognition. I mean, a lot of these guys, this is where they're going to end up. Most of them won't make it past it. So, just to mention these guys, Ole Miss won it, the first ever College World Series win for the program. It's its sixth appearance though in the tournament. They haven't been there since 2014, and the last time they made it to the final prior to this season was actually 1956. So Ole Miss has kind of, I don't know. I mean, I consider Ole Miss a powerhouse for baseball. They really haven't done much with it. I didn't recognize that. So good for them. It was a pretty exciting series. I think both the winning and the lead taking run for Ole Miss in Game 2 came on wild pitches. So that's always hilarious when it's your team that's benefiting from it. But as a fan of the Blue Jays, I've seen some wild pitches really hurt us this year, and God, it just rips your heart out. Ole Miss right-hander Dylan DeLucia. I'm not sure how he says it, but pretty cool name. He was named most outstanding player for the World Series. He won both of his starts in the World Series, which is crazy to me because I think the World Series in that is like a 3-game series. So to start 2 of those is pretty wild. He had a 4-hit shutout against Arkansas that clinched their berth in the final as well. So coming down the stretch, that guy sounded like he really deserved it. He's a 21-year-old junior. It's his first season with Ole Miss after he transferred from JC. He struck out 17 and didn't walk a single batter in 16 and 2/3 innings during the tournament.
Jesus.
So yeah, he was just a total freak. So good for him. Good for Ole Miss. Sucks to be Arkansas, but that's what you get for being Arkansas. Yeah, so College World Series. Other than, and I say this as a guy who played with aluminum bats, other than the aluminum bats, the College World Series is pretty exciting. But God, that sound is to me, it honestly ruins a good hit. Because a good hit is the crack of the bat,
Yeah.
and this is just a fucking ping.
It's just a
It's
ping,
like, oh,
yeah.
God. But yeah, so definitely watch College World Series if you get a chance. Go watch some highlights because it's the level of talent there is so drastic in comparison to anything you'll see on television that you can watch some guys just do some crazy shit like strike out 17 without walking anybody in 16 and 2/3 innings. So, speaking of freaks, this is from a little while ago when the Angels are playing Kansas City, actually. As we all know, Showtime Shohei Ohtani is a freak, but just to cement it a little bit more,
Oh, I
he
saw
had
that one.
2
Yeah.
homers, 8 RBI, in a loss against the Royals. I think they lost like 13-12. He had the tying home run, and he took the lead late in the game, but the Royals ended up coming back. So the next night, he's on the mound against the Royals, and he says, all right, fine, I can't hit the ball and make us win, so I'll just, I don't know, get 13 Ks and 8 shutout innings, earn the W, and set my new career high in strikeouts. What do you think of that, Kansas City? So yeah, that's good. I mean, Vladimir Guerrero has now been iced out of a home run derby championship by Pete Alonso and an MVP by Shohei Ohtani. So I'm a little bit, stung, but I do love seeing the next coming of Babe Ruth and the next great Japanese player all in one just change the face of the league. So that's great.
Speaking of freaks again, did you see the Pirates infielder?
I'm
Buddy
getting
who-
there.
Oh,
I
okay,
am
okay,
getting
okay.
there. I was gonna get to the next. There's something that we're behind on. Freddie Freeman fired his agent. I don't know if you saw this, Nathan, but this was huge. They went back to Atlanta. It's his first series back in Atlanta with the Dodgers. And if you don't follow baseball, there was a lot of surprise from the community and from the media when he didn't stay in Atlanta because he has had just such an incredible career there. In my mind, a no doubt Hall of Famer. This guy is an absolute stud in his physical prime, and you could argue potentially past it. But he is a freak and a legend in Atlanta, and he left for the Dodgers. They brought in Matt Olson, who is an incredible replacement. In my mind, they didn't give up anything to get him. Just so good for Atlanta. But anyway, they're back there. He has a great series and whatever, and it comes out after the series is finished, I believe, or it may have been during, that his agent never informed Freddie about a final offer from Atlanta right before he signed with LA, because he said that
shit,
it was for less money, and he knew that Freddie would sign it apparently. So he manipulated him and got him to LA, got the higher commission.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he wants to argue that it's, for the betterment of Freddie's career and that he didn't feel that Atlanta had properly valued him or something like that. But if I'm Freddie, I do the same thing. I fire his ass on the spot because you're not there to make my decisions for me. You're there to inform me and allow me to make my decisions. So I don't want to say Freddie regrets going to LA because I don't think he does. It's where he's from. It's not like he went to go try and pull a team out of the gutters. He went to an absolute powerhouse. And he's got World Series rings in his future for sure. Not only that, but that guy can afford to make his own World Series rings if he wants. That guy is really set up. I do feel bad he didn't get the chance to be a lifer in Atlanta because you rarely see that in baseball, and it's a big deal. But yeah, sucks to suck if you're his agent because you're probably not going to get any more big contract guys. If I'm a big player, I go, yeah, I don't want that guy anywhere near me. So, yeah, sorry, Freddie. Not that you'll ever hear this or that it would matter, but you're sitting pretty. You're doing fine. Go beat the shit out of Atlanta and yeah, take some World Series rings because I can't help but root for the Dodgers. They're the Dodgers. So. Yeah, Nathan, just to get to your point, O'Neal Cruz, freak of freaks. That guy makes Aaron Judge look small, which is just a feat in its own.
98 miles an hour.
I had this note on when we did the second take of this episode, I think. He had the hardest throw by an infielder this season in his debut game at 96.7 miles an hour. And then yesterday had the hardest throw by an infielder in the StatCast era, which is since 2015, of 97.8 miles per hour.
Bro's throwing literally faster than pitchers' fastballs right now.
When I watch the video, dude, he throws the ball, and he's got such a crazy wingspan that, like, he must release it so late. He whiffs that ball over the first.
I know,
The
it was a
ball halfway
laser.
across the infield looked like it doubled in speed.
I
Like it
saw
got
the video. Yeah, it
faster.
looks like, you know
It
how in like
just
animes when
teleported
someone
to
throws
first base.
something, it like stops for a second and then like catches on fire and then it keeps going. It catches
Exactly
on
it.
like blue fire.
Dude, I didn't even have time to realize that the first baseman was in a full split to catch it because I didn't see where the ball went. It was fucking crazy. So, not only is he like what 6'8" or 6'9" or something,
And he's a
a
rook.
freaky good infielder, a good shortstop, fast as shit, and can hammer the ball. But he also has literally the greatest arm of anybody on the dirt in all of baseball. Like,
Crazy. It's
how
nuts.
do we not know more about him already? We should have heard about him fucking 10 years
The
ago
thing is,
when he
I hadn't
was
heard about him
only
until
6'1" and like 14 because
I
he's
hadn't heard
crazy.
about him until now, like until the 97.8 mile per hour
I've known about him for like a
throw.
year or two, but it only seemed like it was okay, this guy's big, but what can he do? Like that
Yeah.
seemed like the general media consensus about him. Like, yeah, sure.
Well, we know
He
now what
looks
he can do.
crazy, but how is this actually gonna play? It's gonna play better than fucking anybody else. That's what it's gonna do. So that's really cool. Plus, like
Absurd.
he's got so much swag, and like Pittsburgh needs that. Like that guy's a true star. I want to see Pittsburgh take this, run with it. Stop advertising on your fucking baseball breaks that you're selling dirt from the ballpark and start advertising O'Neal Cruz because seats are gonna be fucking filled out for that guy.
Literally,
Like that,
yeah. People are gonna go in to watch him throw the ball and to watch him hit.
dude. People would want to go to early to the park to watch warm-ups just to see
Just
him
to
practice
see him
his
throw the
outfield
ball around.
toss.
Literally.
Like that's the kind of insane ability this guy has. He makes defense fun. He's like Matt Chapman. It's crazy. Pirates
Wild.
also, while we're here, I might as well mention they're the first team. This blew my mind, Nathan. Tell me this stat makes any sense to you when you consider what the Pirates have been for basically your whole life.
Okay.
The Pirates are the first team in MLB history to have 3 different players with 3 homer games in the same month.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
How ridiculous is that? The 1927 Yankees, Murderers Row, didn't have guys hit 3 home runs 3 times in a month. It just seems in my mind, not having ever seen them play, obviously,
Yeah.
that like teams like that, how do they not? How is this Pirates roster with fucking no offense to any of these guys, Jack Sawinski, Brian Reynolds, and I don't even remember who else, that they're the first ones in MLB history to do
Crazy.
that. That is
Nuts.
mental. So Pirates, I love this. I hate seeing shit teams in baseball because there's enough teams and enough talent and enough playoff spots where you can all compete.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to see that a dirtbag team is actually
It's
jumping
crazy
up
because you
into
would
the
think like it's
limelight
not
like
even
that.
on paper. It's not even that impressive of a stat.
Exactly.
Like,
It's not.
you would
It's not an
think-
impressive stat because just by doing that doesn't mean you're winning games.
No.
That could just be impressive.
Yeah.
But like the Pirates aren't terrible. Like they've got more talent than they have in recent years. You can see that there's players there that are trying, and sure, there's talk about being sellers this year, but it's not because they're tearing it down or because they're giving up. They're talking about taking bullpen or starters that are kind of good 5th spot guys for playoff teams. They realize that Pittsburgh isn't giving up their top talent right now because
Yeah.
they see a window, they see a future. So Pittsburgh fans, great, good, love it for you. Excited to see the black and yellow do something. So we'll get back to a few more notes pretty soon, but I'm gonna nail out the list of All-Stars came out not too long ago. I think there's less snubs this year than there has been. I think the starters you could maybe debate, but we'll run through it here real quick, and you can tell me what you think, Nathan. So I'm gonna start with the American League. So the starters. Catcher Alejandro Kirk for Toronto, first baseman Guerrero Jr. for Toronto, second baseman Altuve from Houston, third baseman Rafael Devers from Boston, shortstop Tim Anderson from the White Sox. In the outfield, you got Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, and Giancarlo Stanton. You could have assumed that from the start of the
Yep.
year.
That sounds
DH
about right.
Shohei Ohtani, of course.
Yep.
I love that this is a thing. They did legacy selections, one for the AL, one for the NL. Miguel Cabrera in as a legacy DH. I love it. I fucking love Miggy. That's gonna be fun. On the reserve list, you got Trevino as a catcher from the Yankees, Luis Arias as a first baseman from Minnesota. In my opinion, that should have been Ty France's spot, and in a lot of people's opinion, he should have been the starter over Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I have no idea why Arias is here. He's a great player. Not played that much first base. Definitely not better than Ty France, but whatever. I did my voting, and I never put Arias, so clearly I was in the minority. Andres Jimenez from Cleveland and Jose Ramirez are both in as reserves for second and third base. Xander Bogaerts from Boston is shortstop. In the outfield, there's five backups. You have Byron Buxton, Kyle Tucker, George Springer, Benintendi, and Julio Rodriguez, as well as DH Yordan Alvarez and DH JD Martinez. I voted Yordan Alvarez as the DH from the start. Unfortunately, he is injured. I don't think it's a big injury. It's not going to affect his season. I could be wrong. I think it was just a hand thing, and it's more so that he's just unfortunately going to miss the All-Star game. But he is a total freak, and JD Martinez is his replacement, but he kind of deserved it too. Starting pitchers and relievers will nail out quick. Shane McClanahan, Justin Verlander, Manoah, Nestor Cortez, Garrett Cole, Shohei Ohtani, obviously, Paul Blackburn, Martin Perez, Framber Valdez, and then you got Clay Holmes, Manuel Clase, Jorge Lopez, and Gregory Soto in the bullpen. I'm really happy with this AL roster. I'm not gonna lie. Even on the backup side, I don't know how many guys other than maybe Arise that I probably would have put in there. I was pushing hard for Gurriel Jr. to be in there, but I just don't think he has the namesake, and he's not having a crazy power year. So guys like Benintendi kind of got in over him. But Julio Rodriguez is a rookie. I saw a stat the other day, and through his I think it was his first 85 career games, him and Ken Griffey Jr. have the exact same number of hits, home runs, stolen bases, doubles, a whole bunch of offensive stats. So they've already in Seattle dubbed him the second coming of Griffey. So it's kind of funny. Griffey was a junior. But anyway, I didn't question that in the broadcast.
True.
I'm not going to question that now.
The third coming of Griffey.
He's a total freak. I fucking love this guy. I think guys like Kyle Lewis and the guy they got from the Mets in the Robbie Cano deal, people are already calling him a bust. There's a couple guys in the outfield who were supposed to do this, and they didn't. And bless you, Nate. And now it's Julio Rodriguez, J-Rod, which I don't think is a nickname that should stick. There's way too many fucking J-Rods and J-Rams, and it's lazy.
Yeah,
Come on,
too
writers.
easy to do a Rod.
You're sports writers. You're writers. Get creative, goddammit.
Come on, fellas.
But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what you think about this, but I'm really happy with this roster. I would have loved to see Manoah get the start. I think it's Justin Verlander actually that's getting the start over McClanahan and Manoah. But he's had a couple bad starts lately that inflated his ERA, and it kind of bumped him out. He's not doing poorly by any means, but yeah, I don't know, buddy. I mean, I'm sure you know the AL more just because Toronto.
Yeah,
so.
Toronto. Nice to see some Jays
Shohei.
in there. Nice to see Shohei, obviously. You know, you can't
You
not
know
be a fan of
yeah.
Shohei. So it's nice. There's a few names that I recognize on there. Obviously, like Judge, Stanton, those boys.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was surprised Bo Bichette wasn't in here. He should have, in my opinion, been the starter at shortstop.
Yeah.
Tim Anderson was injured for quite a bit, and Bo wasn't. And Bo hasn't been excellent, but just on the nature of that alone, I feel like Bo kind of deserved it. But anyway, other than that, and yeah, like I said, Rise, whatever. But yeah, I think that's a strong roster. And then we're gonna get to the National League, and honestly, this one, by far and away, I think actually, looking at it, I voted every time exactly for the elected starters. So pretty much what I expected. So catcher, we got Wilson Contreras. First base, Paul Goldschmidt. Second base, Jazz Chisholm Jr. Let's fucking go. Third baseman, Manny Machado, my MVP favorite in the National League. Trey Turner at shortstop. And then the outfield, of course, Ronald Acuna Jr., Mookie Betts, and Jock Peterson, who, man, Jock is just so underrated. I don't care how many people know about him. He's always going to be underrated. He's been such a good player. Good to see him there. Bryce Harper in, unfortunately. got the broken hand. It's not going to really matter. He's not going to get to play, but it does mean something special a little later, at least for a certain family. Legacy selection and home run derby participant Albert Pujols on his farewell tour.
Beautiful.
St. Louis, he's coming to the All-Star game. He's going to
Yes,
compete in the
sir.
home run derby, 41 years old. I think he hit home run number 685 the other day. Fucking legend. One of the greatest of now multiple generations. This guy, I love him. So happy him and Miggy are coming. Reserves, catcher Travis d'Arnaud. We got Pete Alonso and CJ Cron at first base. Jeff McNeil at second. Nolan Arenado at third, who honestly you could argue should be a starter, but him and Manny Machado are just doing freak things, so one of them has to start. Dansby Swanson at shortstop. In the outfield, we only have 4 because there's 2 DHs. We have Kyle Schwarber, Starling Marte, Ian Happ, and Juan Soto. Juan Soto having a pretty down year, at least by his standards. But it's awesome that he still gets to be there because that's just the electric kind of face of the MLB guy that you need in the All-Star game. And then DH, Garrett Cooper for Miami, and William Contreras, the brother of Wilson Contreras, also a catcher, going to be playing DH, and he's going to get the start because Harper's injured. So brothers get to start the All-Star game together. That's pretty sick.
Very
and
nice.
not for nothing, they're both pretty deserving All-Stars. They're both having good years. Starting pitcher, Sandy Alcantara, Corbin Burns, Joe Musgrove, Max Fried, Tony Gonsolin, Luis Castillo, Clayton Kershaw, and Carlos Rodon. He is injured, although. And then in the bullpen, we have Josh Hader, Edwin Diaz, Ryan Helsley for St. Louis, who that's good for him. I'm really happy for him. Same thing with these two guys, David Bednar and Joe Mantiply from Pittsburgh and Arizona. Both from not excellent teams, but both having great years. Both could probably be on the move before or after the All-Star game. I'm happy for a lot of the bullpen here, which is a weird thing to say, but the bullpen's too volatile, and a lot of the guys here. I mean, Josh Hader's the best bullpen arm in baseball. Edwin Diaz has had a great career, and the 3 other guys, like it's good to see bullpen talent rising to the top. Homerun Derby, I'm going to be watching it. I'm going to be tired as fuck for work because they put it on a weeknight because the MLB are assholes. Pete Alonso going for his 3rd straight. Should be his 2nd straight at best. Vladimir Guerrero hit 91 home runs. Why didn't he get to win? Pete, you had it so easy. He went 2nd every round. He barely had to hit 20 home runs a round. Anyway, him, Acuna Jr., Pujols, as I mentioned, Soto, Schwarber, J-Ram, and my favorite for the winner, if it's not Pujols, Julio Rodriguez. I would love to go see that rookie. Not that I like Seattle, but I'd love to go see him go out there and just dick slap in LA. That would be so much fun. Oh, all right. So that's the All-Star lineup. Nathan, I don't assume you have anything on the National League because I barely have anything on the National League.
I do not know.
Definitely watch the All-Star game. The only purpose of the All-Star game and the reason it's in the middle of the season is to get people into baseball. And I know the MLB pushes away fans, but if you're listening to this, it's coming up. It's I don't remember what date it is. I guess we could Google it really quick, but find the date, find the time. I know I'm asking you to search something. It's not okay. Nathan's on it, it sounds
I
like.
got you. MLB
gotta watch
All-Star
it.
game, July 19th, 8 p.m. Eastern.
There you go. 8 p.m. Eastern. It's on a Tuesday next week, which kind of sucks. Again, MLB tries to drive you away even when they're pulling you in. But this is the best of the best. These rosters are very close to what I would have picked as an armchair manager. I think this is going to be a really good All-Star game in Los Angeles. The Homerun Derby is going to be really exciting. You can watch it the night before on the Monday. It's going to be great. You're going to see some legends, some up-and-comers, some return winners. It's going to be big, so definitely get into it. Definitely at least watch it. Maybe you get a chance to think about watching some playoff baseball this season, because I think the playoffs are going to be really good with the expanded postseason and some better teams around the league. So give it a shot. This is why it exists. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, so I only have a couple more topics left. I'm going to try and run through them so we don't go too long. But some random baseball stuff going on. The Dodgers, they're entering the starting pitcher trade market. They did a couple weeks ago. Walker Buehler went down. Clayton Kershaw's on a 1-year deal. He's not a spring chicken anymore, and he's still Clayton Kershaw, but he's going to go on at some point. And they're not short by any means in terms of starting pitcher depth or talent in their system, but they're not also the type of team to wait for somebody to come and make a difference and give them time to develop. They're going to go get somebody at the deadline, and it's really not good for any team needing starters because they can absolutely offer a higher bid than almost any other organization. So as a Blue Jays fan, I'm shaking in my boots. I'm not excited. We need so much pitching. God help us all. Carlos Santana, one of the first big trades of the season, traded to the Mariners on June 27th. God, I wish it was later because he's part of the reason they swept us in that series in Seattle. I think it was back-to-back nights. He hit 2-run game-tying home run, it was not okay. The guy, Carlos Slamtana, I thought was done for, especially when he went to Kansas City from Cleveland. That's not a successful career path in baseball. But now he's with the Mariners, and he's just dick slapping. He's hitting almost 300. He's got a bunch of home runs in barely any games. And in every game he's played in, including one of the games he hasn't, I think they've won. So apparently he's also just an extremely lucky token of some kind. I don't know if he's in Major League, he's bringing in Jobu and his rum and killing chickens in the changing room or what's going on. But he's done something to help out Seattle. So that's good for them. Orioles 10-game win streak, their longest since 99. I like this because, as I mentioned, I hate shit teams, and I kind of like the Orioles, and they have talent. And now all of the AL East is above 500, so welcome to hell, basically, if you're planning to watch any Blue Jays games. I saw a stat the other day. This time last year, we had the exact same record before the Philly series started 2 days ago, I think. So it's kind of funny that it feels so dejected and like we're really bombing. I think part of that's the Vladdy get your popcorn ready quote. Part of that is already having last year missing the playoffs by 1 game as a 91 win team. But now it's just going to only keep getting tougher. The Orioles aren't, a 100 loss team anymore. They're above 500. They're not far behind the Jays. It's only like a handful of games, 4 or 5 or something. And the Yankees have such a dominant lead that I think after the Seattle sweep, we lost our playoff spot, but it's just a total bloodbath in the AL East. So in a year where offense seemingly was down, good division to watch if you're going to watch a baseball game. Speaking of Jays being dejected, Montoyo's fired yesterday or today? Yesterday.
Yeah,
A lot of info coming out about the clubhouse feeling. It's really exciting as a guy who wasn't that into Montoyo in his first year, nor in his second year, nor in his third year, and nor in his fourth year. He apparently was not totally managing the last few weeks. I've heard rumors that the new interim manager, John Schneider, who managed a lot of these guys coming up through the minors and has been a bench coach for a few years now, was doing most of the real managing. I thought Montoyo was good for the first year he hired him. I didn't think he was good. I thought he was a terrible manager, but I thought he fit the team at the time. There was some young talent coming up, but for the most part, it was flyer guys. Can they do something? Some veterans who were middling. Not a team with a lot of expectations, but a team that, they want to be a good spot for the guys coming up to come into. They don't want them to come up into, a bummed out shithole where everybody's mean and mad and frustrated. They want a good vibe. So I think he was good for that. Him and his stupid fucking bongos and everything that came with it. He made some terrible bullpen calls, some weird lineup calls, but he brought a good presence, and I thought that was something we needed. And as a former bench coach for Tampa Bay, I think that's what he always had done. But I think that the players were just starting to get really tired. On Tuesday, there was a play at first. They were gonna review it, and Vladdy had said, no, don't review it. My foot was off the base. The umpire got it totally right. I did not get that guy out. And they challenged it. They lost their call, and it was only in the second or third inning. And for the next 2 or 3 innings, there was reviewable plays that would have gotten them out of jams that they didn't have the opportunity to take advantage of. And I think part of this is that the writing has been on the wall before the Mariners series. The Mariners series helped cement it, but the Blue Jays first base coach, oh man, I can't believe I've forgotten his first name. I don't think it's John Budzinski. Mark Budzinski. Sorry, I apologize. That's so bad. But his daughter passed away. I think they were in Virginia. She passed away in a tubing accident. She was 17. Just one of the more tragic events of any imaginable form of life. Like that's something that you wouldn't wish on anybody. And Mark Budzinski is a phenomenal man by all accounts, a very nice person, a very good baseball mind, loved by everybody in the clubhouse. So he was away from the team for a while. All of the coaches on Sunday, the off day, were in Virginia with him and his family. Montoyo actually stayed, I think, an extra day or two with Budzinski just to be there for him as a friend. And I think that postponed his firing. It might not have looked good before, a beloved coaching staff's daughter's funeral to fire it just not a good look. So he's gone now. Vladdy, I think that call kind of opened their eyes to some of the fans because he had clearly a disappointed look on his face. He was mumbling stuff the next few innings after it. Those issues came up on the field. He clearly was upset, but players have said anonymously and somewhat unanonymously that they're not surprised that he was fired, that they don't disagree with the front office's decision to let him go. I think that was actually what Bo said. He said something about, and I shouldn't be whiffing on a quote. I should have the quote, but he said something along the lines of, this team, when we're 1-9, we either need somebody to kick us in the ass or we need somebody to lift our spirits. And I don't disagree, and we weren't getting that. I think that was a veteran's quote. And Bo said, I'm not surprised that they fired him, type of thing. It's kind of rare that players would speak out even this much, especially Bo, who's a really reserved guy and who I hate in interviews because he is so reserved. To speak out like this, they must have really had an issue going on. And it's never going to come out. Ross Atkins has denied that anything in the locker room changed, and you're going to do that just out of respect for Montoyo. But so John Schneider's up 2 wins. I think, Charlie got a win, fired, and then John Schneider got a win last night. Big win, 8-2 over the Phillies. Really good.
Nice.
So I think it's good. After 2019, I wanted him to be gone. I didn't want them to hire him, but it was what it was. It wasn't a bad era by part of it was, but it led to good things. And I am really excited for John Schneider right now. He's a really good guy, really good coach. I really agree with a lot of his decisions. And I think he's going to do a lot of good stuff, even just as an interim manager. And Casey Candale, who is the AAA manager, is also phenomenal. He has managed pretty much everybody of importance on the Blue Jays that came up through their system. He's worked with them lots. He's done a lot for their development, and he is an excellent minor league coach and manager. He's a bench coach replacing John Schneider's position right now, and I think both of those guys could really benefit the Blue Jays. And I know managers in baseball, in theory, don't mean a lot, especially in the game or only in the game, depending on how you look at it. It's really debated, but these two guys are really good. I think that everybody there really respects them. They really know them. They have a long history with them, and I think that'll really help them finishing off this season. So hopefully they can really push for the playoffs here. But finishing baseball, Nathan, you're going to love this. Zach Granky, by far the weirdest player in baseball. Yeah. If you just Google Zach Granky and go to YouTube, you will find videos explaining how crazy he is. He returned to Kansas City this year, and he came over to a fan. It was during warm-ups. He came over he was going to sign a ball for him. The fan had, his hand underneath the netting with a ball, reached out, and he was calling him over. So he walks over to him calmly, and with that Zach Granky look on his face and his hair sticking out all crazy, and he takes the ball from the fan, brings it down like he's going to sign it, and kind of stops and freezes, and then just turns and yeeted that shit all the way across the field.
No.
Like, just heaved it into the outfield. And he just calmly turned around and just looked at the guy. And so the fan was like, why'd you do that, Zach? He's like, for my amusement. Turned, walked away right there. I felt like it. Didn't sign anything for the guy.
God.
Didn't bring him something during the game. You just lost your baseball you brought.
Yep.
Hope that didn't cost too much. Like, just a dick. But
No.
Zach Granky being Zach Granky probably went and sat on the mound and picked flowers after that.
Probably,
He's just a weird guy. Him and, like, he to me feels like a guy I never saw or knew, obviously, because he played in, like, the dead ball era. But there's a guy named Rube Waddell, and he was a pitcher in, like, the early 1900s, I think. And I actually had him on an out-of-the-park baseball franchise, so shout out OOTP. But he was a pretty good pitcher, actually. But looking back at people's accounts of him, they think he may have had a relatively low IQ or a learning disability of some kind, to put it nicely. He used to pitch really well, but nobody really understood what he meant or what he was saying half the time. Like, he just kind of spoke in weird, broken up sentences, and, like, he didn't make a lot of sense sometimes. Some days he had good days. Some days it was like, it's not even having a conversation, but he's functioning normally. Like, I don't know, he's just a weird guy. There's a lot of guys in baseball back then like that. But he used to actually get, like, if a fire truck drove by when he was on the mound, he would run off the mound, jump the fence, and go chase it down the street. Like, not a normal cat.
Yeah, no,
definitely
definitely not.
got a screw loose. And that's what Zach Greinke feels like. I don't think he's going to chase fire trucks, but if you give him something to sign, he might just throw it the fuck
huck it
away.
across the field, yeah.
Kind of a weird guy. Take a look into him. You'll giggle your balls off even if you don't have them. It's so funny. But yeah, that's baseball standings right now. We've got the All-Star coming up. We've got, a lot of moves going on. Hopefully soon here with the trade deadline and the draft coming up. I'm not going to cover any draft thing pre-draft for baseball. That I just can't. I can't. It's too much of a crapshoot, and frankly, I don't follow enough College World Series or anything like that to even begin to speak on it. We'll recap it potentially. I'll talk about some big names, what some people are saying about them, but yeah, like I said, watch the All-Star game. Nathan, do you have anything on baseball?
I do not have anything on baseball. I do have one small thing on basketball, though, and then maybe we could wrap this up a little bit. But my little basketball news. So DeAndre Ayton was offered the largest offer sheet for an RFA in NBA history.
But Suns?
The Suns had 48 hours to match it, and the Suns just matched it like an hour ago.
Damn.
So, but the one thing that I found was the Indiana Pacers have never had a first overall pick. And they've never had a first overall pick come play for them. If DeAndre Ayton ended up playing for them, he would have been the first ever first overall pick to play in Indiana.
First ever 1-1 in Indiana.
Yep.
Wow.
But the Suns
That's
matched him.
Cool.
The Suns matched him to probably trade him.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, so the Suns are keeping Ayton, maybe.
That's cold.
But they might trade him for KD.
Jesus, I hope they don't. We talked about it before the show,
Yeah.
but god damn it. I love that they matched it. Like you said, they fucking had to.
They
There's
had
not
to.
a
They
choice
had no
there.
other choice. They had to match it.
If you let him walk, that fan base is walking with him.
You're losing, not only are you losing a lot of fans, but you're losing a lot of your progress in terms of rebuilding.
Well, and what do the players think if the front office does something like that?
Exactly.
Like, as a player, you're like, all right, I'm going too. Like,
because as far as
I see
everyone
what
was
this
concerned,
is.
DeAndre Ayton was like an untouchable player.
That's what he always is for me.
Yeah. So, obviously KD kind of bypasses generally untouchable players. Like, unless they're verbally stated as untouchable.
Yeah, but that's just, I don't like that move.
I don't like it either, but because the thing is, KD wants to go to Phoenix.
Really?
And I don't think Phoenix would ever say no to a top, 30 player in NBA history coming and saying, I want to come play for your team.
No, I think you're right, and that's probably why I am not NBA manager, general manager, but God, as a fan and A guy who's played a lot of Suns 2K. That
Yeah.
just sounds so
It's
annoying.
not
I don't like
it's
that.
not the move I want Phoenix to make,
'Cause
but it is the right move for Phoenix
if
to make.
Phoenix moves him, who's behind him? They have to go get somebody, right?
Yeah, but you could pick up like a JaVale McGee or something somewhere.
Well, sure you could, but
It's not like obviously it's not DeAndre Ayton, but like
no.
if you're looking for a win now guy, Kevin Durant's probably going to be that guy. Especially
I
with
guess
Chris
looking
Paul and
at
Devin
it
Booker.
maybe from their perspective, it's not like they haven't been at the edge and just missed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Kevin Durant's not gonna just miss it.
Yeah, like they made it to the finals one year and then they fell short to Dallas, but that was because Luka was like on fire last
They
playoffs.
probably should have made it to the finals.
They should have
but
made it to the finals again this
Luka
year.
was on a different
But
level.
Luka had something to prove, and Phoenix did not know how to handle it. So, can't really blame him for that one. Luka, I feel like if Luka's slowly becoming that player that if he wants something, it's gonna be his.
For nothing, how many teams can even really match up Luka well?
How many? Maybe like 3.
That's what I mean. Like, there's not much you can
No,
do.
Luka
against
Doncic
that.
is a
If
completely
he's
different
got
player.
a different thing going on, like a chip on his shoulder, like it's hopeless.
Yeah.
You can only hope to contain
Like
him.
Luka Doncic, the second Luka Doncic gets another solid player, that might be Jaden Hardy, but the second Luka Doncic gets another like good All-Star caliber player that isn't Kristaps Porzingis, he's set. Like the Mavericks will win.
Really hurt him.
I don't think so. Like Jalen Brunson obviously was a huge piece of the Mavs like success, but like there are plenty of Jalen Brunsons in the league. Like he's
That's
the
true.
spark plug. He's the kind of spark plug that's like a solid second, third option, but it will never be like your first option. Like you will never have Jalen Brunson realistically be your first option.
That's true. And I mean, like, as a role player, you're right. There's always going to be a
Yeah,
replacement.
there's
role player.
there are plenty of Jalen Brunsons in the league. So like, and then you can get them for way cheaper than what New York gave him.
This is true. This is true.
So I
What do
mean,
we
I
think?
don't think it'll hurt
Fucking, what do we think about that Jazz situation?
with Donnie.
Mm.
I don't think Donovan Mitchell's staying in Utah. I think if Utah's trying to be smart about it, they should just rebuild. They should just
That's such a sad
Call it quits.
realization, though.
because they tried with Rudy and Donovan, and they moved Rudy. They got a ton of picks out of it. They got a decent amount of role players. I don't think they should keep Patrick Beverly. Like I
I
don't
don't know how you rationalize keeping Patrick Beverly.
I don't mind
He's
Patrick
he's the
Beverly,
sixth
but
man of the year.
I'm iffy about Patrick Beverly. I don't think he fits Utah very well.
I don't think so.
He's a
either.
very gritty guy, and Utah's not a very gritty city. Sorry
Gritty
if anyone's from Utah and they don't think otherwise.
Not for
but
nothing. You were there. You know it's
Yeah,
not gritty. It's
sorry,
fucking Mormon
sorry,
country.
Utah. You guys are not a gritty.
It's Mormon.
city.
They like to hide in the snow. It's just fucking snow and fields and shit.
But
It's not like
if
Salt Lake
Miami
is
wants
your big
Patrick
deal.
Beverly, he would fit
That would be
there.
nice.
Obviously, he'll fit back in like in LA with the Clippers again. If he
Could
ever
he go to the
decides to go back.
Celtics?
He would fit in the Celtics. He would definitely fit alongside Marcus Smart. Both very gritty guys.
I like that.
But I don't think
That's
he'll
a-
fit in Utah. I don't think Utah should keep him. Utah got a ton of picks out of it, which is great for them.
Not for nothing. You could get something for Pat Bev.
Yeah, oh yeah. You can get probably a pick somewhere. Like maybe a
Yeah.
pick and a player. Maybe that's a stretch, but like a second round, like maybe a couple seconds.
Yeah, like, you can get something worth it.
You could probably cheese a
I don't
first
think
out of
he's
somebody.
valueless.
No. But yeah, I think the smart move for the Jazz is to just call it quits and start a rebuild. As much as it sucks to see that because they've built up so much over the past few years, it's not working. And I think they realized that when they
Mitchell
moved
goes
Rudy
to
Gobert.
New York, though, if that's the case.
Like what
How does
happens
that play out?
if he goes to New York? Donovan Mitchell, I don't think they get. I think Julius Randle's part of it, because I don't think they get
can see
R.J.
that.
Barrett. I don't think they get R.J. Barrett.
No. Mitch Robb, is he still in New York?
Mitch Robb probably gets traded. I think it would be like Julius Randle, Mitch Robb, and like some picks.
All right, I can see that.
For
I
like
like
Donovan Mitchell and like a second or something.
I like that. I don't see an issue with that. I mean, you
Yeah.
know he's gonna be, he's moving on,
yeah,
right? Like you know that you don't have to overpay for that because, I mean, technically you do because I'm sure there's plenty of people who could make offers, but like that's coming your way. And Mitchell Robinson, like if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we call it a bust, but kind of a bust, right?
well, he's a really good player. He's just not a good
Was he a
offensive
second
player.
rounder?
I
Or
think
was he a first rounder?
he was. I think he was a late first rounder. Like he wasn't. I don't think I'd label
Okay,
him
it
a
feels
bust by
like
any
he was
means.
higher than that, but I don't know. I mean, he's good. I thought when he was
Oh
young,
no, yeah, he was
a
pick
rookie
36. He was pick 36.
okay,
So,
yeah, all right.
You're getting
So
good value.
I thought
out
when
of
he
him.
was a rookie that he was gonna be, as nobody who knows anything, I thought he was gonna be a free.
Oh yeah, no, he's one of those guys who's like he rebounds and he defends. He does what a big man should do for you in the modern NBA.
I guess for as the Jazz, like solid. Like you
Yeah.
could use that.
Well, the
for
Jazz
sure.
need one. They just lost Rudy Gobert, and
Exactly.
their next backup is Udoka Azubuike. So,
But I like, but I
well, yeah,
don't
he gives
think
me
is a
Shaq vibes,
capable
but not.
replacement,
He gives me Shaq vibes like physically,
but not as talented.
not talented, not talent wise.
I like getting him in 2K drafts. I enjoy him.
So I mean, yeah, Mitch Rob would be fine. Julius Randle would fit Utah probably.
Julius Randle seems like he can just do his thing.
Julius Randle fits everywhere. He's a very versatile
Yeah,
player.
exactly.
He's not a great guy, but he's a pretty
Oh,
versatile.
but he just does his thing. You know what I mean?
And
he's
then
gonna
Donovan would fit New York because, you know, bright lights, big city. Donovan Mitchell's the kind of guy who would like he's a very Showtime kind of player.
To add around him and like RJ Barrett to make that.
It would be nice for
You know.
Donovan though, because he needs shooters. Donovan he's mainly a slasher, right? Like he can shoot, but he's mainly a slasher.
Right.
So like having guys like RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish around him is actually really, really good for him.
Like, but what do you think it takes for them to be like
A
contending
contender?
favorites?
More than Donovan Mitchell. Or for Donovan Mitchell to
Sure.
take like a big step, like a big jump.
Like, if they had to make one more move this season that would impact them or like this offseason that would impact them next year, what do you think it could be?
Honestly, I wouldn't even say an all-star. I would say like role players. Just get a really good bench, get a really, really solid bench.
Yeah, like depth, right?
Like keep Alec Burks. You have Jalen Brunson, you have Cam Reddish, you have RJ Barrett. If they could find like
Always forget Cam Reddish is in New York now.
yeah, find some more reliable big men. Because obviously, if Donovan goes there, I don't think they're keeping Mitchell Robinson. So find a good replacement big man. Get someone who's good off the pick and roll because Donovan Mitchell is good off the pick and roll. Yeah, just like shooters, just wing shooters, like minimum contract guys that can shoot the ball well.
I would love for the Knicks to like finally get there.
Yeah,
You know
I would
what
love to
mean?
see the Knicks make it out of the first round of the playoffs.
That fan base, it's like, how do you like if you're a fan in New York and you like the Knicks and the Mets, you've known nothing but pain for generations.
For a while, since Patrick
For
Ewing.
generations, and then you get snowed on like a motherfucker. Like it's not a fun life.
Their last like actual success was Patrick Ewing, and then their last like kind of success was Carmelo Anthony.
That's what I mean.
like,
And
Lynn
most
Sanity.
fans today probably weren't even alive for that.
Yeah, probably most Knicks fans probably didn't even watch Carmelo Anthony in his prime.
That's what I mean. So like, oh God, I feel so bad. Like the one podcast I listen to, like the host of that is a huge Knicks and Suns fan, or like those are his teams at least. And it's like all I know is that they're gonna make the playoffs and then break my fucking heart every decade. Like, they're never gonna win it. They're never gonna win. They're just gonna run their franchises into the fucking ground. Like, yeah, no, I get that. That sucks.
All right.
All right.
We've been here for a while.
Well, we're running
so-
pretty long now, so
Yeah.
we'll jump over the football stuff. That's fine, but there's some football stuff. Check out the NFL page or whatever. But
Yeah, go.
more
go look up some
important,
NFL
I
news.
guess you can check out like our social media stuff, right?
True. Yeah.
Because if this episode goes up, the social media will have active
yeah.
posts on it officially.
Yes, we will.
All right, that's fucking exciting.
That
So
is.
okay, this isn't gonna be our regular episode schedule. By the way, this has been chaos.
Yeah.
The first 3 weeks of this like true life of this podcast has been mental. Nathan's been in another country. He's been escaping Mormons, and I've been working like a dog, and we just like have forgotten we were gonna record, and then like missed a week because we were busy. So we're gonna try and do Mondays. Hopefully, have it out by Wednesday at the latest. Probably
Yeah.
aim for Tuesday release. And we're gonna take this hopefully into the school year as well. So come September, this isn't gonna just be a summer thing.
It should be a higher
Getting it-
production quality too.
Yeah,
We'll have more
yeah.
hands on
Hopefully,
deck.
we'll have a much higher capability and equipment and things like that. And maybe like somewhat of an audience. So I don't know. We're gonna try and stay as consistent as we can. We don't want to do this actually get somebody to listen to it and then go, oh, it's done. All right. Hopefully one day this develops a second show too, but that'll be a big leap. I wouldn't expect that in like the next 6 months or anything. That's gonna be maybe next summer, if at all, type of thing. So, we've got plans, we've got ideas. This is gonna go somewhere, we hope. But if you did listen to this, I appreciate you. I love you.
Yep.
And
thank you for listening to
you're
us.
gonna
Thank
give
you
me
for
a happy
suffering
boner
through
appreciate
an
it.
hour and a half of us talking.
Yeah, God, yeah. Oh God, it's gonna be so annoying having to go back and listen to this.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna be like, wow, we rambled way too long. This
we
is not
talked way too
marketable.
much.
Yeah, and there isn't even ads in this or anything. This is just for free. This is just for fun. So, good Lord, I appreciate you if you made it this far.
All right.
All right. So hopefully we will be back in a few days. Totally Offside
Yeah.
Pod.
Hopefully we'll see you guys
Hopefully
soon.
every Tuesday. All right. Thank you very much
right.
for listening.